Hi everyone, so today I'm gonna go through this new documentation that we're putting out, which is how to deploy a Moose application on a single VM through Docker Compose. So here on the right, I have Ubuntu machine, which I logged into, which is basically just EC2 machine. And what I'm going to go is basically go through those docs and show you how to deploy production ready single instance, so not HA deployment for Moose open source. So first thing is I have a Ubuntu 24. I don't have Docker installed yet. It's a brand new machine. I just run a sudo apt update on here. And basically I'm gonna go through the step to install everything. So first thing, a few dependencies that we need to make sure are installed, which should be fairly quick to do. Then this is gonna be adding the GPG key for Docker. So we'll do that. We'll add the Docker official repository, and then we'll rerun apt-get update to refresh the registry. And then this step is going to install the Docker CLI as well as Docker Compose. Then on this step, so either you install Node or you install Python. I'm going to install both so that you can see how that's happening. Here, since we are doing an install for production, I'm not going through installing through NVM or pyenv, but like if you're on your laptop, recommendation is to use one of those. Since it's a production server, you're not supposed to switch the distribution under the hood. So that's why those are the static kind of distribution for Node and for Python. So here now, if I do like node minus version, cool, that's working. Now if I do this, yeah, I also copied the comment, but that was fine. And now if I do Python and then SNS version, I'm not sure if that's gonna work. Python 3. Yeah, that works. Okay, now that's fairly important for logs on one of those on the production system. You want to make sure you're don't have unlimited logs, so you need to configure the Docker daemon for this, which we'll go through them for. So I just put random values, just change the values for what you actually care about, or like what you actually want. Once that's the case, then we restart Docker. And now we're gonna make sure that we can use Docker commands. Like if I do Docker right now, I'm gonna get a Docker PS, like permission denied. Now, if I go through the steps, and now if I do Docker PS, boom, I'm able to do this. Great. So I'm not going to do those steps, but this is like, I put this in here. If you basically want to use like GitHub actions for deploying your Moose application, you can just like run a hosted runner on your VM. And then it's as simple as pushing and running Docker Compose up -d for updating your Moose application. So that's there in case it's more like a not a thought-provoking thing, something that you can look into if you're interested. If you actually want me to do a full workflow of how to set this up, please make a comment on the video and I'll make another video showing this. Okay, so now I'm gonna do this since I actually don't have a Moose application to deploy. So I'm gonna set up a dummy Moose application. So to start with, I'll download Moose on that VM. Why is it not working? Copy pasting. I can't copy paste. Oh, I have a connection issue that actually went through. No, that didn't go through. Okay, so I'm downloading Moose. It's downloaded. So now I need to run this little to make sure that Moose is available in my bash. Here you go. And now if I do Moose minus version, I should have something. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna go with TypeScript for this example. So now I'll go in test yes, run npm install. So in the case where you already have like an existing Moose application, you can just copy your Moose files in a certain directory, or like actually build a Docker image and then get the Docker image on the machine. You can go for registry for this. You can there's also like ways to go through a zip file if you would rather go for a zip file through Docker. You can also go through a zip file without Docker. All of those are possibilities. Same thing as the actions runner. If you want actual how-tos on that front, I'm happy to make other videos. Please leave a comment. So I'm in here, I run npm install. So now I'm on the, and I'm named D64 machine. So I'm just gonna build this image. And then I'll be able to show you the image being local, and then we'll go through setting up all the dependencies there. It's loading. Loading and building. While this is happening, I'll give you a quick preview of what we're going to do next. So then what we'll do is configure some environment variables, create a Docker Compose file, set it up. So in this Docker Compose file, you'll see that there's a few passwords and stuff like that. So I'm going to show how to properly configure ClickHouse, not to have passwords in here. But you probably also want to see if you want to use Docker secrets or Docker on file to make sure they're not in this file. If you don't commit this to Git and you just deploy it and it only lives in your server, which is not the best practice, but you might still want to do that. It's probably okay to have like username and passwords hard-coded in the file. If you have this file actually committed to Git, it definitely should not be in there. So then like I would recommend using Docker secrets or environment variables. Okay, so we're done here. We're done on the right. So now if I look at the Docker images here, boom, we have our latest image. So now I'm gonna make a new environment file for all the versions of the different components that we're gonna add. Gonna need to do this as well. I'm gonna leave it empty because I actually don't have any environment variable that I need for my dummy Moose app. And then I'll go open the Docker Compose file and I'll put all the content here in there. Cool. Okay, so now we've pasted all this in there. The first thing we're going to do is actually only start ClickHouse to set some username and password, and then we'll change the environment variables to make sure that they correspond to the new user that we created. Okay, so first thing is we spin up ClickHouse, pulls it up. Then we're going to use, those are the default that are set in the Docker Compose file. So I'm going to be able to run that there and connect network error. Maybe, here we go. And just like needed a little bit. Now I can create a new user. Of course, you should change this with whichever password you want. I'm granting all the rights, so Moose needs admin access to those things. It manages the schema. This is like in case you want to connect some kind of BI tool. So here Power BI to Moose, and this is like giving read-only access to that user inside ClickHouse. So to leave, then you do like \quit, and then we're gone. So now that we've like set those users, we can go back to our Docker Compose file, and we can remove the lines that are actually setting up the default users, which like you can write somewhere if you want to, or just delete them later on. But here, now that we don't need them anymore, we can remove this and make sure that if you set up a different password for your Moose user, make sure that in the Moose part of your application, you set the other password. And like I said earlier, if you're committing this file to disk, you will not want to put your passwords in there. You'll want to put it into, for example, the amp.prod file, which could be generated during your CI/CD process. Cool. Okay, so we've done all of this. Now we can write in quit, and we can restart ClickHouse. Once this is done, we're gonna make sure that our new user is actually working. So here, no such container. Oh, little typo in the doc. Yep, little typo in the doc. That should be this right here. Cool. And now if I do show table, that works. Yep, now I can leave. Cool. So this little section is about making sure that Redpanda is not available to the external world. So if you go to the Redpanda console, since it's only being interacted with by Moose, we don't have open ports. If you want to open it up, then like you'll need to secure it properly, but that's out of scope for that particular tutorial. Okay, so where was I? Here, Redpanda. Now Temporal. So here we're gonna do Temporal as well, set up from scratch. So here I'm gonna Docker Compose up. So this Postgres is like what's gonna back up our Temporal workflow runners. So first it's gonna pull up Postgres, and we're gonna be able to make sure that it's actually up. It's starting, and then it should get to healthy fairly soon. Here we go. Now we are like, yeah, all our deployments have health checks on them, so you can double check that things are going properly. So We've got Postgres up. Now we're gonna start Temporal. So Temporal is interesting. Like it starts with an auto setup step where it's gonna set up the database, like things like that. And then we're gonna need to change the image and then restart it, like once it will have initialized Postgres and like all the dependencies there. So I'm gonna run this, which is gonna then load the auto setup temporal step. Okay, so that's starting. It's now healthy, so it went through all the steps. All good. So now we'll start the UI and the admin tool for temporal. And then what we'll do is create the Moose workflows next namespace that will be used by Moose. And we'll do that by running the command for the admin tool. Okay. So now, boom, like we created our new namespace. We can double check this, that it was like properly done. We have it right here. That's the first one. That's perfect. You can also like just like look into more details onto like your namespace here. Okay, so now we need to transition from that auto setup to the production setup. So what we're gonna start first is stop all of those services that we've set up, and then we'll switch, like I said, to the auto setup to the server. So I'll open up Vim with Docker Compose, and then I'll go straight to the temporal service, which is right here. And then I need to change the image, which is there, to temporal IO from auto setup to server. Cool, done. And then the other thing that I need is flip those flags. So auto setup now goes to false. We've already done this. And yes, we don't need to do the schema setup anymore. So now I can save this and restart all my temporal services. Okay, now if I do Docker PS, Docker Compose PS, is that a thing? That's a thing. We can see healthy. This one is the admin tool, so it doesn't need to be healthy, but everything else is healthy. So we're in a really good spot. Now we can start everything. So our dependencies are being set. So basically what this is going to add is Redis, Redpanda, the Redpanda console, which don't need to be particularly configured. And then it's going to start Moose once all those. Okay, so now Docker PS, Docker Compose PS. Let's make sure healthy. And looks like we have about a minute. Admin tool, that's fine. Temporal IO. This one restarted. That's healthy. Let's just make sure this one is good. That's the Redpanda console that restarted. So Docker logs. Redpanda console logs -f. Oh, looks like we have. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, it looks like some of the changes I made didn't go through, but that's fine. We'll fix this right now. Vim. So if we go to the Redpanda console, it's basically a change in configuration compared to what I had which is right here. The actual key here is schema registry. And now if we go back to here and then we do PS, we should have something that's should get healthy. Healthy. Yeah. Let me make this a little bit more readable. Console. So this is what we fixed. It's healthy. Now we just have our moose that's restarting. So let's double check that. Oh, search service. Where did I? Oh, password incorrect. For ClickHouse, what happened there? Let's double check. Oh, looks like it's lagging a little bit. Theme, Docker Compose. Okay, so did I introduce a typo? Config admin password. Oh, yeah, like I don't think that's the right password. So here, what did we set? Your moose password. That's the new password. For moose. So moose config ClickHouse. Yes. So let me just do moose here. And then I said like I should change those things and I didn't change them. Yo, moose password. Yeah, that's what we said here. Cool. Now let's restart. Cool. Let's looking at the moose logs. It looks like it's all starting well. Yep, this is booting up all right. So now if I do docker compose ps, it should start to be healthy. Yeah, it's healthy. Everything is healthy. So we're in a really good spot. So now, like the last step is just making sure this is a service so that if our VM goes down for whatever reason, everything restarts. So we're going to use a systemd service to do this. Here, so here you need to change your path, which is going to be, oops. Yeah, which is like the connection is like a little bit spotty. Which is going to be home/ubuntu/test_ts. Let me double check. Yeah, test_ts. And then so now we're going to enable the service. We're going to start it. We're going to make sure we can do a status on it. Yep, that's running. And so now we're going to show that it's resilient to restart. So I'll do sudo reboot. And the VM is going to reboot. So we're going to wait a little bit. And then like once that's done, we should be able to get in. Connection refuses, not booted yet. Now it's back up. This is our test.ts project. But now if I do status, boom, it's enabled. Docker PS. Oh, it didn't restart. What happened? Did I mess something up? /home Ubuntu test.ts. Let me double check this. Working directory. Test.ts. That should be working. Oh, it's inactive. Maybe let me try this again. Okay, Docker PS. Okay, now everything is back up. Maybe it didn't settle. It was the wrong comment. I didn't really start it. Okay, so now everything is up. Everything is healthy. Let's do the restart test again. So sudo reboot. And basically it should come back up by itself. Like we shouldn't have to do anything. Okay, we're in here. And I want to see the status. Okay, now we're talking. So Docker PS. Yes. You can see everything starting back up and being healthy. Cool. That's it for today. So of course you can do some automation around this, like to automate that deployment if you wanted to. But that's like from start to finish in about 27 minutes with a little bit of debugging in the middle on how to get to production with Moose on a single VM with Docker Compose. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.